Good morning, students. I hope all of you are healthy and also safe. And today we are going to discuss about the chapter Biological Classification Synopsis for the CET and NEET. Okay, so as you know already, this chapter we discussed in the classroom also, Biological Classification. Okay, so coming to the chapter, so you know that already you have an idea about the classification. What is meant by classification? Classification is nothing but a arrangement of organisms or living things, plants and animals, okay, into convenient categories is called classification. Okay, so here if you observe the classification, there are so many scientists, okay, so proposed different types of classification. So the first ever, the earliest person who classified the living things are Aristotle. So Aristotle was the earliest, okay, person who attempted the classification, and he classifies the plants into trees, okay, and shrubs and also herbs, and animals into two groups, those are red blood and without red blood. Means you know that the Aristotle was the first person, he classified the animals into two groups, that is one is the animals who has red blood and the animals who doesn't have the red blood. So again he also classified the no red blood animals into two types, hard bodied and soft bodied animals like. So same he also classifies the plants into three, okay, types, that is one is the trees, shrubs and herbs. Okay, so coming to the next classification, that is two kingdom classification. Two kingdom classification was proposed by the Linnaeus. This system classifies the organisms into two kingdom, that is one is kingdom Plantae and also kingdom animals, okay, that is kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. Okay, so this is the two kingdom classification. And coming to the drawbacks of this two kingdom classification, see here the Linnaeus simply he classifies the all living things into two kingdoms, that is Plantae and also Animalia. So then what are the drawbacks of this two kingdom classification if you observe? So one is, you know that prokaryotes and eukaryotes, means you have to take a prokaryotes, that is which includes bacteria and cyanobacteria, and eukaryotes means fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms. These are all means both prokaryotes and eukaryotes were included under plants. Okay, so based on the presence of cell wall, but they were widely, okay, differed in other features. Okay, if you observed prokaryotes, eukaryotes and plants, there is a huge diversification we observed. Okay, so but which are all comes under the plant kingdom, so that is one of the drawback. And second one is, you know that here in the two kingdom classification, all unicellular and multicellular organisms are included in the same group, that is that Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, okay, which are placed under the algae, though those are the unicellular organisms. And that this two kingdom classification is also not differentiated between the heterotrophic fungi and also autotrophic green plants. Okay, so you know that if you observe the fungi has a chitinous cell wall, whereas the plants have a cellulose, okay, made up of cellulose containing cell wall. So but here the fungi as well as plants, which are all included in the same kingdom, that is plant kingdom. So these are the drawbacks of the two kingdom classification. Okay, see next one is the five kingdom classification, which is proposed by the, okay, R.H. Whittaker in 1969. It includes the five kingdoms, okay, one is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and These are the 5 kingdoms. This classification is based on, okay, this is very important. You know that on what basis the Whitaker classifies the kingdom into, means the living things into 5 kingdoms, means based on the cell structure, thallus organization, and also mode of nutrition, and also reproduction and phylogenetic relationship. Based on this, he classifies the organisms into kingdom Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and also animalia. Okay. See, if you observe the characteristics of 5 kingdom classification, you know that what characters he took for the classification of the kingdom means classification of the living things. That is, one is cell type, okay, and next one is cell wall, means cell type means whether the cell is prokaryote or eukaryote. Cell wall means the composition of cell wall, means by what substances the cell wall is made up of, and also nuclear membrane is present or absent, and also body organization, whether the cellular or, okay, tissue level organization or organ level, like that, okay, body organization, and also mode of nutrition. So based on these 5 characters, okay, based on these 5 characters, the 5 kingdom classification has done. Okay, so here which included Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So you know that Monerans are prokaryotic, okay, and remaining all Protista, fungi, plant, and animalia kingdoms are eukaryotes. Okay, so here cell wall is present, and but it is not made up of with the cellulose, so that is non-cellulose cell wall is present in the Monera. Okay, and if you observe, nuclear membrane is completely absent, body organization cellular, and mode of nutrition autotrophic, photosynthetic, and chemosynthetic autotrophs, and also heterotrophic nutrition system we observed. And protista are eukaryotes, okay, so cell wall is present, and nuclear membrane is also present, and body organization cellular level, and these protistans are, okay, both autotrophs and also heterotrophic in nature. Okay, so coming to the fungi, eukaryotes, okay, cell wall is made up of from the chitin and polysaccharides, nuclear membrane is also present, and body organization multicellular level, and these are exclusively heterotrophic mode of nutrition they exhibit. Okay, and plant are eukaryotes, you know that cell wall is made up of from the cellulose, and nuclear membrane is present, body organization tissue or organ level, and if you observe the mode of nutrition, these are purely autotrophs. Okay, and animal kingdom means animalia, okay, cell type is eukaryotic, cell wall is absent, and nuclear membrane is present, but the organization of the body is tissue, organ, or organ system, and these are exclusively heterotrophs. Okay, so this is, and coming to the next, the first kingdom, that is Monera. Okay, so Monera containing bacteria. Okay, so bacteria are the most abundant microorganisms, and you have to observe in a handful of soil, we can find a hundreds of bacteria. Okay, so they also live in extreme habitats such as hot springs, okay, and deserts, snow, and deep oceans. So many of the bacteria are parasites in nature. Coming to the, okay, monerans bacteria. Okay, okay, see, bacteria based on the shapes, okay, bacteria are classified into 4 types. One is coccus, means you know that based on the shape, bacteria are 4 types. One is coccus, bacillus, and vibrio, and next one is spirillum. See, if you observe the first one, coccus, which are spherical in shape, round shape, and bacillus, rod shaped bacteria, vibrium, comma shaped bacteria, and spirillum, spiral or S shaped bacteria. Okay, so next one, next one, see here the bacteria structure. So it's very simple, but they are complex in behavior and show metabolic diversity. Okay, some bacteria are autotrophs and some of them are, means majority of the bacteria are heterotrophs in nature. Okay, so and coming to the next one, so kingdom Monera. Okay, so kingdom Monera means already you know that it again classified into different types. One is bacteria are broadly classified into two types. One is okay, archaebacteria. Okay, so bacteria are classified into two types, archaebacteria and eubacteria. Archaebacteria again, okay, so classified into three types, halophiles, thermoacidophiles and methanogens. And eubacteria again classified into autotrophs, heterotrophs, means based on the mode of nutrition. See these autotrophs also again photosynthetic and chemosynthetic, and heterotrophs means you know parasites, okay, and saprophytes. Okay, so here if we see that different types of archaebacteria, okay, so you know that these archaebacteria live in harshest habitats, means extreme conditions, that including salty areas. Okay, extreme salty areas, those known as halophiles, means the archaebacteria which are okay live in hot springs are known as thermoacidophiles, and those are okay found in marshy areas are known as methanogens. These archaebacteria have a different cell wall structure, so this is very important. Why these archaebacteria are exist in a very extreme conditions, means due to the presence of cell wall, okay, structure. So due to this cell wall structure, they survive in extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in guts of ruminants. Here you can find in the picture, okay, guts of ruminant, okay, ruminant animals, we can find the methanogens which are produces the methane biogas from the dung of these animals. See here you observe halophiles, means the bacteria which found in extreme salty areas, thermoacidophils, methanogens. Okay, so coming to the next one, okay, that is eubacteria. Okay, so eubacteria which are also known as true bacteria. Okay, true bacteria, they are true bacteria having rigid cell wall and flagellum. If the bacteria are motile, they have a flagellum, and mainly they have a rigid cell wall. Okay, so they include autotrophs, means photosynthetic and chemosynthetic, and also heterotrophs also. Okay, so here photosynthetic autotrophs, an example is okay cyanobacteria. So they have a chlorophyll A similar to that of green plants. So that's why these okay cyanobacteria are known as blue green algae. So these are, means cyanobacteria are blue green algae, generally unicellular, okay, and colonial or filamentous marine are terrestrial stages, okay, terrestrial algae, and the colonies are generally surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. They often form a bloom in polluted water bodies. Okay, some of them, means some of the cyanobacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen in a specialized cells that is called heterocysts. The example for this okay cyanobacteria are blue green algae are nostoc and anabina. And see here chemosynthetic autotrophs, means they oxidize inorganic substances such as nitrites and ammonia, and use the released energy for the ATP, means ATP means energy production, adenosine triphosphate energy production. That's why these are known as chemosynthetic autotrophs. Okay, they help in recycling the nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. Okay, so coming to the next one, heterotrophic bacteria. Heterotrophic bacteria. Okay, so they are most abundant in nature. The majority are important decomposers. Okay, decomposers. And coming to the next one is heterotrophic bacteria. Okay, so heterotrophic bacteria impacts on human affairs, means they are used to, means what are the uses of the bacterias. Okay, so they are used to make the curd from, okay, milk, lactobacillus bacteria, and production of antibiotics. See here, making curd, and also production of antibiotics drugs. Okay, and fixing nitrogen in legume roots. Okay, leguminaceae plants roots, they are present and they are helpful for the nitrogen fixation. Some are pathogens, those causes the diseases like cholera, typhoid, tetanus, and citrus canker disease. So these are the uses and also harmful effects of the bacteria. Coming to the reproduction, if you observe the reproduction in bacteria, okay, reproduced by mainly fission. Okay, fission means here if you find the single cell, okay, so it is divided into two daughter cells, that is called fission. Under unfavorable conditions they produces the spores. They also reproduced by a sort of sexual reproduction, that is okay, DNA transfer from one bacterium to the another bacterium. This is called transformation. Okay, so transformation, like that different mode the reproduction is takes place by in the bacteria. Okay, so you know that mycoplasmas. Okay, mycoplasmas, these are the organisms, they can survive, okay, without oxygen, and they are the organisms without a cell wall. This the cell wall is completely absent in the mycoplasmas, and these are the smallest living cells. Okay, and many of these mycoplasmas are pathogenic in nature, causes the diseases in animals and also plants. Okay, so that is, and coming to the next kingdom, that is protista. Okay, the protista is it includes the single celled eukaryotes and well defined nucleus and other membrane bound organelles also present. Some have flagella or cilia for the locomotory organs, as for the locomotion. Protists are primarily aquatic in nature. Okay, aquatic in nature, and it is a link with plants and animals and also fungi, means these protistans, okay, shares the protistans shares a common relationship with all plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and also fungi. So reproduce, the protistans reproduced by the asexual and sexual. Okay, sexual reproduction is takes place by the cell fusion and also zygote formation. See here the classification of the protista. Protista are broadly classified into, okay, 5 types. One is chrysophytes. Okay, chrysophytes. Okay, so one is chrysophyte, dinoflagellates, euglenids, slime molds, and protozoans. So first one you have to see that chrysophytes. Okay, chrysophytes found in freshwater and also marine environments. These are microscopic and float passively in water currents, and these are generally known as planktons, and most of them are photosynthetic in nature. Okay, it includes diatoms and golden algae. Diatoms and also golden algae. Okay, golden algae is also known as desmids. Desmids. Okay, so coming to the diatoms. See here, they have a silica, means the cell wall is made up of from the silica, forming two thin overlapping shells which are fit together and seems like a soap box. So diatoms are the chief producers in the oceans. Means in the diatoms the cell wall is embedded with the silica, and this cell wall, it seems like a soap box by fitting together. Okay, so it seems like soap box, and these diatoms are the chief producers in the oceans. Okay, so coming to the diatoms next, they have, see, already said, okay, means they are the chief producers in the oceans. See, you know that the cell wall deposit of diatoms over a billions of years, their habitat is known as diatomaceous earth. Okay, diatomaceous earth. This is used in polishing and also filtration of oils and syrups. Means the cell wall over a millions of years is deposited, okay, so at the bottom of the oceans, and which forms a diatomaceous earth, and this diatomaceous earth has a huge economical benefit. That means, you know, that this diatomaceous earth is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. Okay, so coming to the next one, dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. See, these dinoflagellates are generally marine and photosynthetic. They appear in yellow, green, brown, blue, and red color depending on the main pigments in the cell. Cell wall has stiff, okay, cellulose plates on the outer surface. See here, if you observe, the cell wall has a stiff cellulose plates. Okay, on the outer surface there is a stiff cellulose plates are present. Okay, so if you observe the dinoflagellates, majority of these dinoflagellates have two flagella. Okay, so that's why these are known as the dinoflagellates. Dino means two flagella, okay, which containing two flagella. Okay, so one is longitudinally present and another one is transversely. See, if you observe here, one is longitudinally present and next one is transversely present. These are the two flagellums. See, red dinoflagellum example, Goniolus undergo rapid multiplication. Undergoes means these red dinoflagellates, example Goniolus, undergo rapid multiplication so that the sea appears in red tides. So see, if you observe the sea, it appears in red tides. They release, okay, toxins, means the harmful chemical substances that kill marine animals like fishes. Okay, next one is third class of the protista is euglenids. Mainly these are freshwater organisms found in stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein rich, okay, layer called pellicle. So it gives a flexibility to the body. So these have a two flagella, one is short and one is long. Okay, so they have a two flagella, one is short, another one is long. Okay, see, if you observe the euglenids, they are photosynthetic, means in the presence of sunlight. If there is a sunlight is absent, they behaves like a heterotrophs by predating on other organisms. Okay, so that's why which behaves like both animals and plants. If sunlight is available, they prepare by the photosynthesis. If sunlight is not available, they become heterotrophs. The pigment are identical to those of higher plants, means the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is the pigment is present in the euglenids. Okay, so example is euglena. And next one is slime molds. Okay, the fourth class of the protista. They are saprophytic protistans. Okay, the body moves along the decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. So on the decaying twigs and also leaves, the body moves, okay, by engulfing the organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form a aggregation called plasmodium. See here, so under suitable favorable conditions they form a okay, aggregations called plasmodium. It may spread over a several feet. Okay, so it may spread over a several feet. Okay, if the condition is unfavorable, okay, plasmodium differentiate and forms fruiting bodies which bears the spores at their tips. See, these are the fruiting bodies. If the unfavorable, in the unfavorable conditions, okay, these plasmodium differentiate to form a fruiting bodies at the, okay, tip of the fruiting bodies. Okay, there is a spores are produced. These spores have true walls. They are highly resistant and survive for many years. Spores are dispersed by air currents. And see the next, the last class of the protista, that is protozoans. These are heterotrophs, means either predators or parasites. They are primitive relatives of the animals. That's why it is called protozoans. The protozoans again, okay, is divided into four subgroups. One is amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans, and also sporozoans. See, if you observe the first one, amoeboid protozoans live in freshwater, sea water, and also moist soil. They move and capture prey by putting out pseudopodium. Okay, so means by using pseudopodia they can capture the prey, and also they can move from one place to another place. Means the pseudopodia is helpful uh, for the locomotion and also for obtaining the food. So example, amoeba. Marine forms have silica shells on the surface, on their surface. Some are parasites also. Some of the amoeboid protozoans are parasites and which causes disease. So one is entamoeba. Okay, so example is entamoeba. So flagellated protozoans. See, you know that the flagella, those have a flagella for the locomotion. That's why these are known as the flagellated protozoan. These are free living or parasitic. Parasitic forms causes diseases like sleeping sickness, which is caused by the trypanosoma. Okay, trypanosoma is an example for the flagellated protozoan which causes disease called sleeping sickness, generally found in, okay, West Africa countries. Okay, so next, the next classes, next group, that is ciliated protozoan. These are aquatic and actively moves, okay, by using cilia. Means the protozoan which have a cilia are called ciliated protozoans for the locomotory purpose. Okay, so here they have a cavity called gullet that opens to outside. See here, if you observe the cavity, if you observe the paramecium is an example. Okay, there is a cavity called gullet which opens outside the body. Okay, so example is paramecium. And next one is sporozoans. They have a infectious spore like stage in their life cycle. That's why the name sporozoans. Example, plasmodium, malarial parasite which causes malaria. Okay, so it's an example for the sporozoans. Okay, so coming to the next one, kingdom fungi. Third kingdom fungi. So here these fungi are unique kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi is a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organisms. They are cosmopolitan means they are present everywhere. Okay, so that's why those are known as cosmopolitan. They grow in warm and humid places. Okay, example, bread mold, okay, orange rots, and also mushroom and toadstools, and also white spots on mustard leaves have leaves are due to parasitic fungus. So these are all parasitic fungus. Okay, And see here, some fungi are the source of antibiotics, that is penicillium. Means by penicillium notatum we have to prepare the antibiotics. Okay, and some unicellular fungi. So majority of the fungi are multicellular. Only exception is that yeast. Okay, Saccharomyces is the unicellular fungi which is used to make bread and beer. Okay, so other fungi cause diseases in plants and animals also. Means white rust causing, okay, white rust is the disease caused in the plants by the Puccinia, is a fungi. See here, the penicillium used for the preparation of antibiotics. Yeast, okay, is used to make bread and beer. And next one is Puccinia, which causes diseases in plant. Okay, so next one is so here, except yeast, fungi are filamentous. Means filamentous in structure. Their body consisting of a long slender, okay, long slender thread like structure, okay, is called hyphae. Okay, the fungi's body containing a long slender thread like structure called hyphae. Okay, so the total network of the hyphae is known as mycelium. See here, the hyphae is a two types. One is cyanocytic hyphae and septate hyphae. Okay, so cyanocytic hyphae, if you observe, they are continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. Means cross walls are absent or septum are absent. So that type of hyphae are known as cyanocytic hyphae. If the hyphae containing septum or cross walls, those known as septate hyphae. So septate hyphae, understood? So that is, and if you see the cell wall composition of the fungi, it is made up of from the chitin and polysaccharides. Okay, cell wall is made up of from the chitin and polysaccharides. Okay, so most most fungi are saprophytic. Okay, some are parasites. Okay, some live as symbionts. Example, lichens. Okay, lichens are association of fungi and algae. And next one is mycorrhiza. Means some fungi are associated with the roots of higher plants, those known as mycorrhiza. Okay, so next, coming to the reproduction, if you observe the reproduction in fungi, okay, there are three kinds of reproduction we find. Okay, one is vegetative propagation, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction both are takes place by the spores, whereas vegetative propagation takes place by the fragmentation, fission, and budding. Okay, sexual reproduction is takes place by the spores, different types of spores, that is conidiospores, sporangiospores, or zoospores. Okay, whereas sexual reproduction is takes place by the spores called oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. Okay, see here you observe the vegetative propagation, that is vegetative propagation, okay, by the fragmentation. Okay, so body is divided into two, okay, pieces, that each fragment is developed into a new individual organism. Okay, next one is fission. Okay, so fission means body is divided into two daughter cells called fission. And next one is budding, formation of bud. Okay, so these are the vegetative propagation in fungi. Okay, so here asexual reproduction already said by spores such as conidio, sporangiospores, and zoospores. Okay, these are the conidiospores which bear than the conidiophore. Okay, conidiophore. Like that, the sporangiospores also produced on the sporangiophore like zoospores also. Okay, through this asexual reproduction is takes place. And sexual reproduction, if you observe, okay, by the oospores. Okay, so oospores and also ascospores and basidiospores, they are produced in distinct structure called fruiting bodies. See here, the fruiting body bears the spores. So these spores on germinate gives the mycelium. Mycelium is developed into Primordia. Primordia again produces the fruiting bodies. Like that, life cycle is takes place. Okay, coming to the sexual reproduction. Okay, so sexual reproduction. So you know that there are three steps of sexual cycle. One is plasmogamy, fusion of protoplasm of the motile and non-motile gametes, means the sexual reproduction containing three stages. One is plasmogamy, means fusion of protoplasm of the two gametes. One is motile gamete, next one is non-motile gamete, and fusion of nuclei is known as karyogamy. After that it undergoes zygote. So meiosis in zygote resulting in the haploid spores, means the zygote undergoes meiosis so that they produces the haploid spores. Okay, next one is okay, so next if you observe sexual reproduction, in sexual reproduction two haploid hyphae come together and fuse. Okay, haploid hyphae comes together and they can fuse. Okay, in some fungi fusion of two haploid cells immediately results of a diploid cells, means in some fungi what happen, the two haploid cells immediately fusion. So due to this there is a diploid cells are forms. Okay, so in ascomycetes, okay, ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, okay, a dikaryotic stage or dikaryophase means two nuclei per one cell stasis occurs. Such condition is called dikaryon, is nothing but in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes dikaryotic stage we can find. Dikaryotic stage is nothing but a cell containing two nucleus. Okay, so such condition is known as dikaryon. So later parental nuclei fuse and the cells become diploid. Okay, you know that fungi forms fruiting bodies. Fungi forms fruiting bodies. Okay, in which reduction division is occurs leading to the formation of haploid spores. Okay, and see the classification of fungi. So fungi are classified into four types. One is Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. So if you observe the first one, that Phycomycetes, these are known as okay, lower fungi. They occur in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places, are as a obligate parasites on plants, means in different habitats we can find these Phycomycetes. The mycelium is aseptate, means cyanocytic. Aseptate means without cross walls and cyanocytic. Example Mucor, Rhizophus, okay, Albugo. So these are the examples of the Phycomycetes. So in Phycomycetes the reproduction, sexual reproduction is takes place, okay, asexual reproduction is takes place by the motile zoospores or non-motile aplanospores. These are produced on sporangium. These are produced on sporangium, whereas sexual reproduction is takes place by the fusion of two gametes forms zygospores. Okay, two gametes fuse together to form a zygospores. Zygospores, and if the gametes are similar, those known as isogamous, and if the gametes are dissimilar, those known as anisogamous or oogamous. Okay, See here, Ascomycetes. Okay, Ascomycetes is generally known as sac fungi. So these are unicellular. One of the unicellular of these Ascomycetes is yeast, except all multicellular. And mycelium is branched and septate. Okay, these are saprophytic, decomposers, parasitic, and coprophilous. Means is nothing but growing on dung. Okay, and see here in the in the sac fungi, okay, asexual reproduction is takes place by the conidium, okay, which are produced on the conidiophores. Okay, conidia germinate to produce the mycelium, new mycelium. So in sexual reproduction, if you observed in ascomycetes, by ascospores produced endogenously in a sac like structure, okay, called asci. These are the structure of asci. In that, okay, there is a, okay, endogenously produced ascospores are present. These asci are arranged in the form of ascocarps, which are known as fruiting bodies. Okay, examples for this: Aspergillus, Claviceps, Neurospora. And Neurospora is used in biochemical and genetical work. Okay, Neurospora is used in biochemical and genetic work, whereas morels and truffles, okay, morels and truffles are edible, okay, and are delicious. Okay, morels, truffles are due to delicates, which are used as a edible, okay, food sources. Okay, next one is Basidiomycetes. Okay, see here, Basidiomycetes, which includes mushrooms, bracket fungi, or puffballs. So they grow in soil or on logs and tree stumps in living plant bodies or parasites. Okay, mycelium is branched and septate. Okay, mycelium is branched and septate, and these Basidiomycetes, okay, by producing spores, asexual reproduction is takes place. Okay, spores are generally, sorry, asexual spores are not found in Basidiomycetes, but vegetative reproduction is takes place by the fragmentation. Asexual spores are absent, but vegetative reproduction is takes place by the fragmentation. Sex organs are absent, but plasmogamy occurs by the fusion of two vegetative or somatic cells of different strains or genotypes. So as a result, a dikaryotic stasis forms. It gives rise to basidium, new basidium. So that's why which are known as Basidiomycetes. Okay, so karyogamy and meiosis occurs in basidium, producing 4 basidiospores. 4 basidiospores. Okay, see if you observe here. Okay, after karyogamy and meiosis, okay, so the 4 basidium here produces, like, okay, basidium 4 basidium is uh, produced, and these basidia are arranged in fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. Example: agaricus, stilago, and picinia. Okay, so next one is Deuteromycetes. Okay, so commonly known as imperfect fungi, and because only asexual or vegetative phase are known. Okay, that's why which are known as imperfect fungi. Okay, so it is also possible see here, uh, asexual and vegetative stage have been given one name, placing under Deuteromycetes. Sexual stage another name, placing another class. Means here in Deuteromycetes there is no sexual stage. Okay, so sexual stage is not found, that's why which are known as imperfect fungi. Okay, so in Deuteromycetes generally reproduced by asexual spores. Okay, asexual spores by the conidia. Mycelium is septate and branched. Some are saprophytic and some of them are parasites. Majority are decomposers. Okay, and example for this: Alternaria, Colletotrichum and Trichoderma. So the next one is Animalia and plant kingdom. So this animal kingdom and plant kingdom you have to study chapters. Okay, so coming to the next viruses, virides, prions and lichens. So here first one is virus, virides, prions and lichens. So these are the not these are non-cellular and non-true living one. Okay, non-cellular and not truly living. That's why these are not included any of the five kingdoms. Understood? Why these are separately studied means which are not truly living and non-cellular. So that's why we have to study this in a separate segment which are not included under any kingdom. So here if you observe viruses, so viruses have an inert crystalline structure outside the living cells, means in the out of the body, means out of the living cell, these are inert crystalline in structure. Viruses are obligate parasites. Viruses are obligate parasites. When they infect a cell, uh, they take over the machinery of the host cells and replicate themselves, killing the host. Okay, means once they enters into the host body, then okay, they can completely adapt the host cells. Okay, by that they can reproduce or replication is takes place. So you know that Louis Pasteur, so he gave the name virus, which means venom or poisonous fluid. So DJ Ivanovsky in 1892, okay, discovers virus. So who discovers the virus at first means DJ Ivanovsky. Okay, DJ Ivanovsky discovers the viruses. He recognized certain microbes that cause mosaic diseases in tobacco. So mosaic, see here the mosaic diseases in tobacco. So they were smaller than the bacteria, means he recognized certain diseases okay, which occurs in the tobacco leaves, and these pathogens are smaller than the bacteria, and because they passed through the bacteria proof filters. Okay, and he identified those as a TME, tobacco mosaic virus. Okay, so and next one is MW Beijerinck. Okay, MW Beijerinck in 1898, so he demonstrated the extract of the infected plants of tobacco could cause infection of healthy plant also, and called this fluid is called Contagium vivum fluidum. So he is okay demonstrated the extract of the infected plants of tobacco could cause infection in healthy plants, and called the fluid, that fluid he called as a Contagium vivum fluidum, is nothing but infectious living fluid. Okay, and next Stanley, okay, MW Stanley in 1935, he showed that viruses could be crystallized. Viruses could be crystallized, and crystals consist largely proteins. Crystals consist largely proteins. Okay, this means he crystallized the viruses, and these crystals contain the proteins. See, if you observe the structure of viruses, see, a virus is a nucleoprotein, that is, it has a protein coat. It is known as capsid. The genetic material is present inside the capsid. So this genetic material is maybe RNA or DNA. So no virus containing both RNA and DNA. So anyone, okay, so either DNA or RNA is the genetic material, and the genetic material is infectious. Okay, it causes infections. Okay, so next one, generally viruses that infect plants have single stranded RNA. Viruses that infect animals have either single or double stranded RNA or DNA. Okay, so next one is bacteriophages, means the viruses that infect the bacteria are known as, okay, bacteriophages. In the bacteriophages, generally the genetic material is double stranded DNA. Okay, So you know the protein coat called capsid, okay, made up of small subunit, like that, small subunits. Okay, so this is totally capsid. Okay, so this capsid is consisting of a very small subunits, this known as capsomeres. This protects the nucleic acid genetic material. Okay, capsomere are arranged in helical, so either helical or polyhedral geometrical form. Okay, helical or polyhedral geometrical form. Okay, viruses causes diseases like you know that, okay, mumps, smallpox, okay, herpes, influenza, AIDS. Okay, so in plants the symptoms can be mosaic formations, leaf rolling, curling, yellowing, vein clearing, dwarfing, stunted growth. See here, herpes, smallpox, mumps. Okay, so influenza, AIDS, these are all the disease caused in humans. In the plants also, tobacco mosaic disease, okay, and certain diseases also we can found in plants. So these are the viruses. Okay, virides, prions, and lichens. Okay. Next one is virides. See here, virides, so is an infectious agent with free low molecular weight RNA and no protein coat. So in virides there is no protein coat, means there is a absence of capsid, but genetic material is present, that is low molecular weight RNA is present. These are smaller than the viruses and these are discovered by the Theo Diener. Okay, he found that it causes a potato spindle tuber diseases. It causes potato spindle tuber diseases. Which one? Virides. Okay, so prions. Okay, see here, these are abnormally folded proteins, that causes some infections, neurological diseases. These are similar in size to viruses. They cause bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or it is also known as mad cow diseases in cattle. It's a analogous variant. Okay, and Jacob diseases, Jacob disease in humans, which are caused by the prions. And coming to the lichens, you know that already. Lichens are symbiotic associations, means mutually useful association between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobiont, whereas the fungi component is known as mycobiont. Algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter and absorb minerals, nutrients and water from its partner. Okay, lichens are very good pollution indicators. They do not grow in a polluted areas. Okay, so this is about the synapses. Okay, and in the next class we are going to solve the CET and NEET questions. Okay, thank you.